Welcome to the Unspoken Truth podcast, and you're here with Patience. And here we explore big ideas, question assumptions, and dive deep into the stories that shape our world. So, as I told you last week, we were sharing the story of Ayira, and we are still sharing the story of Ayira. So join me and stay tuned and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Just a little reminder, we are continuing right from the final bit of chapter 1, where Ayira has just claimed the third ring and something ancient has awakened. Chapter 2. The one who waited. The stone above her trembled. It was subtle at first, just a flicker in the dust, a low creaking sound like old wood settling. Ayira pulled herself up from the cold floor, her muscle trembling, vision still fuzzy by the visions the ring had just shown her. Her heart raced, not with fear, but with confidence. She was no longer alone in this place. The ring still rested in her palm. It pulsed gently, almost as if alive. The other two rings around her neck hummed in response, and for a brief second, all three resonated together, like a chord struck on some earthly instrument. The silence returned, too complete to be natural. The spirits whispered in her mind, "Run." She turned just as the wall behind her peeled open, not broken or blasted, but split along ancient seams, revealing a long corridor that hadn't been there before. No light came from it, but Ayira didn't hesitate. She ran. Down the corridor, boots slapping against smooth stone, breathed tight in her chest. The ring swung against her sternum with every step, the new one still in her grip, refusing to be worn yet. The deeper she ran, the colder the air became, not the sharp cold of winter, but the kind that settled in the lungs, like breathing in the memory of death. Behind her, something stirred, a sound like bone grinding against bone. She didn't look back. She emerged into another chamber, vast and echoing, lit by thin shafts of light from holes in the ceiling above. Most clung to broken pillars. Statues stood in ruined semicircles, some humanoid, others too strange to describe. And in the center stood a figure, not a guardian like she expected, not a shadow or beast. A man. His skin was pale, not from lack of sun, but as if he had been sculpted from ash. His eyes were shut, hands clasped in front of him, bound in silver chains that shimmered even in the dimness. He did not breathe, he did not move, until Ayira stepped closer. Then he opened his eyes. They were not human, no whites, no iris, just shifting light, like distant stars glimpsed through smoke. He looked at her and smiled. "You took it," he said softly at last. Ayira raised her dagger, though her hand shook. "Who are you?" The man, no, the being, tilted his head. "I was once the keeper of the third ring," he said. "Before I failed, before I became this." She studied him, the chains, the stillness, the sad etched into the lines around his mouth. "You are not here to stop me?" "I was," he replied, "a long time ago. But that time has ended." "Why?" "Because you've already begun, and because I remember you." Ayira flinched. "We've never met." "Not in this body, no, but your spirit." He looked down, almost reverently. "It has worn many names, and in one of them you forged the first ring." She said nothing. She couldn't. The weight of these words hit something deep inside her, something old, something waiting. He stepped forward, and the chains led him, as if they too had been waiting to release him. "You need to leave this place," he said, voice sharp now. They felt the ring awaken. They will come, the ones who feed on silence, the one who guard the lie. "And you?" she asked. "What will you do?" He smiled again, tired but real. I will hold the door one last time. Ayira wanted to argue, to ask more, but the chamber shook violently now. Stone dust raining from above. She had no time. She placed the ring around her neck, fit perfectly, and then she ran. Behind her, the sound of chains breaking. Above her, the world split open, and deep inside, a memory stirred of fire, of a promise, of a time when she had chosen to forget who she was. That time was over. Chapter 3. Smoke in the Garden. The city of Ayira lay beneath a haze of ash and steam. From a distance, it looked peaceful, its silver towers piercing the sky like the tips of forgotten swords, smoke trailing from rooftop vents, artificial gardens blooming on terraces where no real earth remained. But as Ayira stepped out from the ruins beneath it, she saw the truth. Everything was too quiet. The streets were empty. The screens on every wall, normally blaring news, propaganda, and half-truth, were frozen. The people who should have been flooding the plaza at this hour were gone, as if someone had paused the city mid-breath, or cleared it. The ring burned against her chest, not painfully, just enough to remind her, "You are seen now." She ducked into a narrow alley, between two maintenance towers, her cloak heavy with temple dust, her face half shadowed by the hood. She needed to blend in, but her heart still hadn't slowed. Every reflection in the dark glass of the buildings shimmered slightly, showing flickers of something just behind her, spirits maybe, or echoes of herself from lives she hadn't lived yet. This was not the same Vera she had escaped 6 months ago. That Vera was corrupt but loud, predictable in its lies. This was silent, watching, and worse, remembering. She moved through the lower market district, though there was no market to speak of anymore. Most of the stalls had been cleared or dismantled, the vendors gone. Only one remained, an old woman hunched over a cart of green clay pots. Ayira froze. Not because of the woman, but because of the clay. It was the same green that lived in her dreams, the same clay used in the temples, in the elite hospitals, in the rituals they never spoke of. The woman looked up, eyes milky white, but somehow aware. "You shouldn't be wearing all three," she rasped. Ayira's hand went to her chest instinctively. "You see them? I see what they've made you, what they will unmake." She didn't know what to say. The old woman tapped the clay pot beside her. "They will come for this too," she whispered. "The rings and the clay, they come from the same place, but only one of them remembers its name." Before Ayira could respond, the old woman shoved a small sealed pot into her hand and said, "Run." The city screamed, not with sirens, not with alarms, not with pressure. Ayira staggered as something invisible passed overhead, fast and massive, like a shadow cast by a ship that wasn't there. The temperature dropped again. Glass cracked, air bent. "They're here," whispered the spirits, the echo guard. Ayira didn't wait. She ran through a maintenance tunnel, twisting and turning down levels of the city most citizens didn't know existed. She could feel them chasing her, not in footfalls, but in the way sound stopped around her, the way her breath steamed unnatural in front of her, the way her thoughts slowed when she passed certain doors. The echo guard didn't bleed. They listened, they drained, they erased. She burst out onto a rooftop, 3 sectors west. Below, the city pulsed with strangers' lights. A drone hovering, scanning, but it didn't see her. Not yet. Ayira crouched, heart hammering. The 3rd ring vibrated. A pulse spread from it, soft but growing. And across the city, Other pulses answered, not from rings, from people, scattered through the slums, through hidden rooms and locked hospitals, lights, echoes like buried seeds waking up. She wasn't the only one. The third ring hadn't just completed something. And lastly, chapter 4. The message in clay. The pot cracked open with a sound like breath being drawn. Ayira had waited until she was far from the city's heart, hidden deep in the old sewer tunnels, ones not even the government maps acknowledged anymore. Her fingers trembled as she pried the lid off the old green clay pot the woman had handed her. Inside was no scroll, no artifact, only clay, still wet, still warm. But as she looked at it, really looked, the shapes began to rise. Not symbols, not words, memories. She saw a child running through the field of green grass, laughing barefoot, wearing a ring much too large for her hand. She saw a mountain split open, not by war, but by choice. She saw herself, Ayira, not as she was, but as she had once been, lifetimes ago, standing at the center of a circle of light, holding 3 rings that burned like suns. And she heard the voice again, not the old man's, not the spirit's, but hers, from before forgetting. They will not remember your name, but they remember what you changed. The clay dissolved into dust. Ayira sat there for a long time, not moving, not afraid, just awake. The world outside still hunted her. The echo guard would come again, but something had shifted, because the rings were no longer just rings. They were keys to something hidden far beneath the old city, beneath the ruins of the ruins, where even the stars had forgotten to shine. And others, those newly awakened by the third ring's pulse, were already moving. She felt them like sparks in her ribs, strangers, kin, fated. Ayira stood, no more running. She turned towards the lowest part of the tunnels, where stone turned into glass, and the oldest doors waited. The rings around her neck hummed like a storm held back by breath. And as she reached the gate carved with 3 forgotten sigils, they whispered, not in warning, but in welcome. And that is the end of the story. So I promised so many people who asked me where did this story came from, what was the inspiration behind it. So I would say that I had a dream, it's true. I had a dream and it was one of the weirdest dreams that I've ever had. So I wrote it down and then I exaggerated it. And then the main character, there was this girl in it. So she's actually the main character. And I decided to name her Ayira. So, and I think, but the way it looked to me, I would say that the story is more spiritual, though I don't even understand it, but I just say that let me just write it down and then share it to the world, if I can say. So thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe for more. See you next time.